Hello everyone, welcome back to Yield with Dallin, Candland. This is the Yield Roundup, episode 1. So we're going to be talking about last month, August 2019. It was honestly a crazy month. There was a lot of things that happened. I started a job on the 5th over in Driggs, Idaho, digging up potatoes with some friends and learned some lessons that really I'm going to take with me for the rest of my life and also into this semester. And I can make an entire episode about what I learned and different experiences. Honestly, like seriously, it really was good for me. I want to talk about a couple of my successes throughout this month. That sounds a little pious, but I don't know. That's kind of what I'm going to do. So we'll see how this goes. So I started going on runs again a little bit. I ran a couple of late night runs because I'd wake up early in the morning to go to work, and I went on a couple runs that were just 10 minutes before going to bed. And I've been reading this book called Spark, and it's been super enlightening, pun intended. It's been super cool, just about learning more about exercise and how it connects the brain and just invigorates the brain. And one of the coolest things I got out of that book so far, I'm not quite done with it, I'm on like page 200, and I've just read a couple pages here and there when I have a chance at work, during lunch, or on the way to work when I'm not driving. And I've gotten pretty far, so little things over time, they add up a lot. But the thing from the book that I want to share real fast is the effects from exercise of calmness and just that dopamine and just that spike, that can last for about 60 to 90 minutes after you're done with the workout. And I figured that out today and saw that when I played basketball outside for like 30-ish minutes, and it was just great. So that's going to be one of my goals for this upcoming month, but I'll get back to that later on. That was something that I did, was going on those runs and pretty much trying to live up to what I was learning in the book. I started making my own salads. I think that was at the beginning of this month. And we started from just lettuce and my roommate Tim's cabbage and Caesar salad dressing and cheese to add those things, all those things, but with bacon, the bacon bit thingies at Walmart, and some croutons. So I had one salad today, and I've been starting to crave salads more, which is much healthier than other things. I find that when I make things myself, I am much more satisfied with it. A good example is this podcast. Well, if somebody was making the podcast for me and I was just recording it, I don't think I'd be getting as much out of it, honestly. It's an all-in effort that's reaching every fiber of my being, and it's just awesome. I love doing YouTube, but right now that hasn't been commanding every fiber of my being, and I don't feel like I'm making as big of an impact. But when I start the YouTube channel for this podcast, it'll be cool to see that start growing as well. And yeah, the yield mindset is real. I've been sharing it with people, and it's been really cool to hear people's responses. It's been humbling. My hope is in the future, we'll have a roundup, and I'll have different people, friends, family, people that I know that are influencers themselves, might have their own podcast or whatnot to that effect. Who knows who I'll meet in the next couple months. And I'll have these people come on and talk about what they learned and how they were able to yield. And then it won't just be me talking, although I do like talking. I think you guys deserve way more than just my thoughts. We'll do that. This podcast was started this month about a week ago, and it's been a big blessing in my life. It's already on Spotify. It should be on iTunes by the time you guys are listening to this. I just need to hear back from them. I submitted it, but we haven't heard back quite yet. And I wrote in my book a pretty good amount. That's starting to, I would say one of the biggest things I got out of this month with the book was just kind of getting a better idea of what exactly I'm writing. And it's a self-reflective journey that is intended to inspire and to help you rethink your current situation. Because in a way, we're all youth at heart in some way or another. We might be in our youth with some experiences and some talents and some abilities, some habits. So that was the Yield Roundup for my personal self, how I was able to help myself. Because seriously, this podcast was definitely an answer to prayer for me. Different, but definitely what I needed. And that's me yielding to myself and building myself through doing this, and who knows where it'll lead. Ways I was able to help others this week with the yield mindset was one time, just about, I think it was right soon before the podcast actually was officially launched, but we were riding back home, and I saw this guy and I recognized him, and I said, I thought I recognized him from a Smash Bros tournament they had here on campus. So I was like, I'm going to go and talk to him. So we just followed him and then just followed him and went to this parking lot. I was like, dude, I think I recognize you. I brought up about how I thought we met at a Smash Bros thing, and he's like, oh, actually, I think I do remember you. And then we exchanged phone numbers, and I was like, well, that was weird. But I did reach out to him, and Tim actually headed out. I love Tim, but he was out for the night one day, and I was kind of bored, and I was alone. So I called up Sam and said, hey, Sam, do you want to come over? And he's like, yeah. And he told me that he wanted to be a math teacher in the future, and that's something that's helped me a lot. When I hear what somebody is shooting for and what they want to accomplish with their lives, it helps me to treat them a little bit. I don't know. It helps me to help them with their goals because I know they have goals. He wants to be a math teacher, so it doesn't mean... So he needs to keep studying his math, obviously, so he can share it with his future students. He needs to be thinking about his future students right now. So... And with me, I need to be thinking about all the people that are reading my book and other things right now. I need to be preparing for those people. I need to do the small disciplines for those people. All right, this is probably going to be the coolest one, I think. But I went on one of my late night runs, August 26th, and I just decided I would run over to Porter Park. And so I ran over there, and I was just jogging around. It was great. It was late, you know. I saw this guy just kind of hanging out, and his head was sort of lowish. And he had a box of Little Caesars pizza. And my first thought was, man, if I go talk to that guy, maybe he'll give me a piece of his pizza. And maybe that was the case. Maybe that was the truth. But what happened was I ran, and then I looked at my watch, and I'm like, wow, I have like 3 minutes left. I'm going to wait. I'm going to jog around a little bit more, and then until 2 minutes left. And all of a sudden, I'm going to turn into a superhero, super fast dude, and just sprint home. No, nothing. Just boom, all out. And so I had this thought, and it was right about to hit 2 minutes, and I was getting ready to go. I saw this guy again. I was like, you know what? I need to talk to him. So I did. He opened up to me a little bit, and we had some good talk with one another. We just talked, you know, about life and about God and how he's helped us out in our lives and how he's in the details of our lives and will help us when we're struggling. And he told me about how... He said, I don't want you to worry at all about what you're worrying about right now. I was like, I want to think like, what, how do you know that? But I figure when I'm his age, it'll be a similar thing. If I see a college student running, you know, obviously they're ambitious or driven in some way. And if I'm just chilling eating my pizza, of course I'm going to talk to them if they talk to me, or I'd probably go up and talk to them. I don't know. You know, you just have to sort of think about it in that way sometimes. And by then I'll be out of college, obviously, so I can give some advice. And this guy, I'm not going to say his name just to just keep his identity safe. But he told me, he's like, just don't procrastinate. And don't procrastinate on anything. And that kind of hit me. I mean, I've been told that before, but it was just kind of cool when he said it, you know. Just that don't let your assignments get ahead of you, plan them out beforehand and get it done so you can enjoy your time. That's something my dad would tell me all the time back home. He's like, Dallin, if you get your homework done first, man, you wouldn't have to worry about all this other stuff. And it's like, that's true. And I'm still trying to work on that. So we'll see. That guy was really appreciated. And I was going to go help him, but he was there to help me. How cool is that? That's how God works. We lift up each other. I'm just going to move on to some of my main takeaways from August. This is from work and from starting the podcast and all these different things. So buckle down, put on your seatbelt, grab a packet of Scooby snacks or whatever you want to do and just listen. So one of the biggest takeaways I got from August was you just have to take one step. All of these biggest things in my life that have changed my life, being the basketball manager, running track, they all started with one practice, talking to one person about my goal or whatever. It all started with one thing. And that's the same thing with this podcast. One day I was just picking up potatoes and stuff, and you're like, you know what? I'll start my podcast tomorrow. And sure, it was difficult. There was some stuff, you know, it was kind of hard to fight that. Like, oh man, I'm running out of free time and blah, blah, blah. What about my weekend? But we got it done. And all of a sudden it exists. It's a living thing. It's no longer in my head. The longer something's in your head, the more likely it's going to just, you know, not exist. It's just going to be stuck in your head. It has to be created twice. It has to be in your head, and then it also needs to be in your hand. Like, I'm holding my iPhone right now. Like, it had to be created. It had to be envisioned. Envision love demonstrated. Yes, I envision love. I just need to stop tapping the table because I find that in my editing that's kind of annoying to listen to. Yes, I envision love demonstrated. You envision people that you're making a difference for them. Yeah, I've had to let go of some things a little bit to make this podcast work, but I'm very thankful for it, and I'm sure God's gonna help it all work out. And so far it has. And it's amazing to me because I wanted to take this step earlier, but I guess it just wasn't the right time. It didn't really feel right. And now it's just, the floodgates are open. It's already on Spotify and things have happened and it's worked out. The second takeaway I want to share really fast is just that God knows what he's doing. I had 2 really promising internship interviews, and one I just didn't really feel good about, even though I would be all right at it, I guess. It just wasn't what I wanted to do. It wasn't what I thought it would be. And the other one was only going to be for the fall and not for the summer, so I had to turn that one down too and just say, yeah, maybe I could do next summer. So yeah, I'm thoroughly convinced, and I only say that when I'm seriously serious about something. Like, that's something my kids are going to hear. Like, I'm going to tell them, I'm thoroughly convinced if you get this and this done, it'll all work out. I'm thoroughly convinced, blah, blah, blah. Means it's over and over again. There's a Latin word. It's called todiens, and it means so many times. It's such a cool word. And God's answered my prayers so many times, todiens, like all the time. It happens so often, and it's easy to forget about those little miracles sometimes. But yeah, God knows what he's doing. If I'd taken those, despite my feelings, I wouldn't be working at Potatoes. I wouldn't have worked in Driggs at that place and learned all those valuable lessons and had those cool experiences where I was digging and my hands hurt, and everybody around me, or all of our hands hurt. We're like, how much more of this are we going to do? And then we have a joke or we have a laugh, and you're just like, man, this is a great moment. I think that's honestly something that's helped me out a lot in my life, is just saying, this is a great moment. And all of a sudden it is. Like, you can't do that all the time. But it's always with the little things, Like one day I just decided I'd just go sit outside and just lay down on the grass and look up and think. I was like, I mean, that was a great moment. Might not have thought about that, but it was. It was leading me towards greater things, some reflection. The other thing I'd share is just you cannot know what others are going through. This is number 3. 1 is take one step. 2 is God knows what he's doing. 3 is you cannot know what others are going through. I've had feelings of feeling really good about talking to somebody, and they just are not in the mood to talk to me. I've had people where I get the smallest inkling and I'm like, and it turns out they really needed somebody to talk to them, etc., etc. I've learned the best thing you can do really is just to be human and listen to other people and just care. Like this guy, I was talking with him outside and I had this thought to ask him to sit down. And so after talking with him for like 5-10 minutes, I was like, bro, how about you just sit down? And so we did. And we had a good talk. And I think it was really good. It was really good for both of us. And I've ran into him since, and it was cool to make that connection again. So I'm really excited for the future of this podcast, the future of my life, and I definitely want to help out anybody who is struggling with seeing the vision, because Proverbs 29:18 in the Bible, Old Testament, King James Version says, where there's no vision, the people perish, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he. So it says where there's no vision, the people perish, but where there is vision, the people live. That's the opposite of it. And so that's really kind of what I'm trying to do. Me and Tim have been doing these little apartment councils and talking about our goals, and that's really been helpful. But I'm going to try to keep myself more personally accountable. 1 Peter 3:15 says, always be ready. Sanctify the Lord God in your hearts, and always be ready. Be ready always to give a man the answer of the reason of the hope that is in you. That's kind of that thought. Why do I have hope? It's because I'm acting. I'm getting things done in my life with God's help, and he's lifted me up and helped me see the bigger picture of things. He's helping me out. So my goals this month, I'm going to really try to run at least once a week. So that's the minimum. I'm going to run once a week. And once the school starts back up, it'll be a little harder. So I'm going to at least do that because I think that'll really help me out at least once a week. I also practiced basketball about 2 or 3 hours ago, maybe a little bit more. It was just a great time. Practiced for like half an hour, listened to some of my tunes, and just shot some hoops, did some crazy stuff, did some layup drills, some dribbling. It was great. And so I want to at least do that for half an hour once a week. And I also want to recognize the answers to prayers that I get more and write just one down in my journal for that day, because sometimes I can get overwhelmed with all this productivity stuff. But just doing one little bit can make such a big difference in the long term. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start doing that, writing that down in my journal. It's going to be my ATP, so answers to prayers. And that's like an acronym for some power in your body or something. I remember from biology class. Yeah, ATP, answers to prayers. So those are my main goals. I'm going to try to work on those things and develop my talents and hopefully get with the podcast, I'm going to get an intro. That's pretty much what I have for you today, guys. I just know that God's got a plan and he's going to make things work out. And I'm so thankful for the people that have reached out to me and have told me that, hey, this podcast is cool and I appreciate what you're doing with it and how it's helping me out. I'm excited to hear more of those stories and yeah, bring it on. Tell me about how this is helping you. And I'm pumped to see this keep going. I'll be finishing up my book this month. Hopefully, I'll be starting school again, and it'll be crazy. But I just know that things are gonna work out if we just keep going. You know, God sees the end from the beginning. There's a reason why we're all on this path. You know, there's hope for every single one of us. And we're all super special. We can learn from one another and grow with one another. And yeah, I'm hopefully going to get some guests on this podcast. I've had some people that I've been thinking about. I've had some people that I've been thinking about for a while. I'm excited. I've had some people that I've been thinking would be great for the podcast. Ball is rolling. We just have to keep it rolling. And while I'm getting a degree and other things, just keep it rolling. That's the goal. So thank you all for listening. Do not forget to yield today. There's a cool quote. It says, just stop seeking out the storms and enjoy more fully the sunshine. I think that's President Gordon B. Hinckley. He was one of the prophets of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Take care. Let me know what you think about this format. These Yield Roundup episodes will be happening every month, and I'm excited to see them grow, but I want, of course, other people to get in on this. So that's going to be one of the biggest things I'm going to be working on, is making sure the podcast is ready for guests. And it's super exciting. It's going to be sweet. Thank you guys. Take care. Bye.